You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, and my name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to our recent RPG adventure. That was a fun time, and the numbers seem pretty good, so we're glad that you seem to be enjoying that, so thank you. Any comments or suggestions, please comment. We're open to what we did well or what we did wrong.
Yeah, I would have felt bad if that thing had really tanked. But it didn't. It was
not
fine.
As bad as Seth would have felt.
Yeah. Like, it turned out perfectly fine. So, 4 parts out now.
We survived. Oh,
it does feel a little weird recording this week without Jesse because he's been here so much.
I wonder if he's going to show up.
just magically.
He'll just show up. Hey guys, what's going on? I've been off for 14 days. I still got 3 more.
Nice.
3 more. I went to Indianapolis for Gen Con. And Cliff, you went to a con. There's all kinds of cons,
Yeah.
So it was pretty good. It's pretty. I was looking at an Instagram post I had some put on there a few years ago where it was this huge crowd there waiting to get in, and I had I was posting an old pic. I was posting it right after COVID had started. I was like, I can't imagine ever doing this again. And then 2 years later, here we are, front row, right there.
Wow.
Breathe it in.
I think 2019 was like 50th anniversary of Gen Con, and there was like 70,000 people went. This year it was like around 65, so it's almost back to full numbers.
Did you go all 3 days?
We got a 4-day pass, which that's if you're gonna go more than 1 day, you just might as well buy a 4-day pass because it's just it's just as cheap. It works out anyway. So, but we didn't go every day. We've kind of gotten this habit of going the first day on Thursday, then Friday doing other stuff, and then we went back Saturday, and then left on Sunday. So we got 2 full days in. Try to be there the first day and get the stuff that I gotta get these things while I'm here. Get up there on the first day when the least amount of people are there and get everything. And didn't really have any trouble getting all the stuff I had my heart set on. And then just kind of went through everything from one end to the other. And took a day off doing other things. We went to some movies. We saw 4 movies while we were in Indianapolis, and then we went and saw Mark Maron in the front row at his comedy show, the Egyptian Room at some venue down there. I don't remember what it was, Capitol Theater or something. And then went back Saturday and spent a few hours walking the floor till I felt like I'd seen everything. Got all kinds of stuff. A few games, but mostly RPG stuff, terrain and things like that to play some Dragon Age.
Any like early release stuff that nobody else has yet?
Yeah, there was some stuff that just came out on Kickstarter, some terrain from Monster Flight that I've seen Kickstarter people have started to get, but I didn't do the Kickstarter, but they had it. There was a book there one company had that I had pre-ordered, and so people that go to the con are going to get it before me. I literally could have stood there and bought it, but I know it's on its way. These smaller companies, though, that's just, you have to realize that they, you know, you got to allow them to do this. This is their chance to promote their product, and they air flight in some books to sell at the con before they actually get their stuff to send out to backers. So you kind of suck it up and just say, okay, you know, I want you guys to succeed, so go ahead and sell them here, and I'll get mine in a week or so. Anyway, yeah, I got a bunch of stuff that I wasn't sure was going to be there that was, so I'm excited to bring it out. And I think the main thing we hooked in on as far as games was that there's a series of games. I posted some pics of the Unmatched series by Restoration Games. They've come out with, they're the company that takes it. Normally, that's not the case with this game, but normally they're known for taking an old game from the 70s, 80s, or whatever, and updating it with better rules and better figures and boards, and really making a really great product. And like, there's a game called Downforce that they have that's great, and they did Fireball Island. They came out with that new version a couple years ago. Stop Thief, and I forget what else, but one of my favorite companies for that. But they have a game called Unmatched that has different sets, like just a lot of public domain characters. Like Michael would be all over this.
Yeah, he would love it.
And they, like, I bought a set that was Robin Hood versus Bigfoot, and we bought that. Really liked it. It's just like it's, you know, feels like any other kind of little 2-player thing, like a little hero clicksy, but it's got these cards and stuff. It's a little more shiny than a hero clicks thing, but it was fun. So Nick really liked it, so he bought 2 more sets, and I bought 2 more sets, so we've got 5 of them now, probably 20 characters, and you can mix and match, and anybody can find anybody in different boards. So that'll last us for a while playing. But it was a good time. We ate really well. Had the best ice cream I ever had. Honey roasted peanut butter with chocolate chips. It was freaking amazing. It was so good. I did not think that would be good, but he bought it, and then I immediately had to buy a big waffle cone of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't go to many cons or shows or anything. It's very rarely that I do. But I mean, for you guys, like, did you think it felt like pretty good just to be back into the environment?
Oh yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, that was kind of my takeaway too. I had went on Sunday last weekend. I went to PowerCon in Columbus, Ohio. And it just kind of wasn't really planning on going to it. We had joked around about it a few weeks ago when I'd seen it was coming to Columbus, and was going to have some names there as far as like YouTubers, and you know, it's a toy show. This is the He-Man, Motu, Masters of the Universe con.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So normally it's been, I don't know, it's been running for over a decade, but it's always been in like California. So it was a big shocker that it had come to Columbus, Ohio at the convention center downtown. And that's what surprised me about it, because I was like, what in the, I knew all about PowerCon. I'd seen, you know, vlogs and stuff and heard all about it from past years. And then one day I noticed, you know, friend of the show Russ had liked a post on Facebook about PowerCon, and I messaged him. I was like, hey, are you, because he goes to all these shows, especially in our area, comic cons and toy shows and stuff all the time, promoting his stuff, and just he likes to go. And I messaged him and I was like, hey, are you going to PowerCon? He's like I didn't even know anything about it till just today. And I was like, well, okay. I thought, well, if you're going, let me know and I'll see if I'm off in that stretch. It's like, it was like the 3rd to the 5th to the 7th or whatever. And so anyways, we didn't talk about it for a while, and then like early that week he was like, hey, you still thinking about going to that? And I was like, well, if you're going, I'm off Sunday. I could go Sunday the last day. Now ideally that's not usually the best day to go, but on the last day. But
well, that's when they mark stuff down.
Well, that yeah, that's when they're dealing. And I looked at the schedule, and I was like, there was a few panels on Sunday scheduled for Sunday, and one of the panels was Pixel Dan Larson from Toy Galaxy, and the guys from Swoosh YouTube channel, and some guy named Shartimus Prime that I was just like, oh my god, Shartimus Prime. What is this? So I checked him out, and then I messaged Russ, and Russ was like, yeah, I know that guy. I watch his Transformer toy reviews all the time on YouTube. So I was like, oh, okay. Turns out he's got a huge following. But so that kind of gave us some incentive to go. So I texted Cooper, my son, and was like, hey, would you be interested in going? And he was like, yeah, I don't have anything to do that day. So we just went up for the day, and got there a little bit before the con opened. I was like, by the time it came around, I was super pumped about going. And then when we got there, I was just like seeing the crowd and the people again, all excited. I was like, heck yeah, I haven't done this forever. So we ended up actually, once we got in there, I think they had about 70 or 80 vendors total. And they had some names there as far as, some toy collectors and a few cosplayers and stuff. And this was the third day, of course. But I got about 4 booths into it, and I was just like, I looked at those guys, I was like, I am completely overstimulated right now. Like, there was just so much in the toy world to look at and to try and focus on. And, it's mostly Motu, but I was a little worried because, I'm a Star Wars guy for the most part, and we were on the ride up, and I was like, man, I really hope, there's like some vintage Star Wars I can at least look at, because I wasn't really planning on buying anything. And then Russ was like, oh yeah, there's going to be a little bit of everything. I'm like, I don't know, this is the He-Man show. And ended up being great. There was all kinds of stuff up there. When you walked in, there was a NECA Toys was right in front, and they had a whole display of these Masters of the Universe latex Halloween masks. They're super detailed, ginormous masks that are coming. I was talking to those guys. They said they were coming to Walmart, so they're coming to retail. But they had NECA Toys. The Four Horsemen were there. Tweeterhead was there. Had some beautiful. I don't know what scale they were. Russ could tell you, but they were enormous busts and He-Man on Battle Cat and a Merman, a bunch of characters that were just gorgeous, highly detailed. And then there were a lot of smaller companies there that are basically producing like He-Man inspired lines, new lines, but they look like a lot of them could fit in with that 5.5-inch scale. So, those smaller companies, we talked to a bunch of those guys promoting their stuff and looking at it, and they had some really cool stuff. And then I had a real nice conversation with Pixel Dan, guys. I didn't grab a picture, but we talked to him for a long time, just, about collecting and where he's from and what he was kind of into, and what, at this point he's been doing it forever, and just like what happens when you get to that point, you kind of feel like you have everything. You don't, but you feel that way, or people assume you do. And then, Dan Larson, I really wanted to talk to him for a minute, but his booth was always kind of, every time I went by there was full of people. So I didn't get really to talk to him, but we went to that panel. The panel was great. Highly enjoyed it. Wished it had been longer, because those guys were, just really informative, relaxed, and funny. So we really enjoyed that. And then as we were done with that, I was, Russ and I were talking. I was like, man, I'm really glad we did that. Like, I haven't been to a show in so long. And all the shows he's been to, he goes, yeah, that was really great. I've never been to a panel before. And I was like, oh my God, you've been to countless shows and you've never went to a panel before. He's like, no. So
you gotta be out there on the floor hustling. You can't
that's what it is.
Relaxing at a panel.
So, but yeah, we found some stuff. Russ was on the hunt all day for this Marvel Legends Iron Man Mark 1 figure, and we couldn't find it anywhere. And then, I mean, this was like at the very end of the day, him and I were kind of just giving it one last sweep around, and we were in a booth and we were looking at something else, and they had some bins there, and I swear, as we're standing there talking, and I was just like, oh yeah, I looked down in those bins and I pointed something out, and he reaches down and he pulls the damn figure he'd been looking for all day out, that we'd talked to every booth, everybody there, nobody had it. And he's like, here it is. Had $12 marked on it. I was like, man, what a freaking steal. So he was super happy about that. He picked up a, we're vintage toy guys. He picked up a complete Ace McCloud from the Centurions, the 80s property. Something he had as a kid. He picked that up immediately, and he was just like, oh man, this thing's awesome. And Cooper bought some stuff. Cooper bought a Fantastic Four Marvel Legends set. I think that came out last year. Bought the whole set, including Doom. Super cool packaging and good looking figures. And then the only thing I bought all day, and I looked, and I mean, there was some awesome stuff, some awesome new stuff, some modern stuff, some vintage stuff. And there was one booth in the very first aisle. It was the last booth back there. He was right next to Tony and Classic Plastics booth. They were neck and neck together. And he just had this awesome booth. Massive vintage Kenner Star Wars and vintage Kenner superpowers. And he had 3 totes of complete figures, just the normal figures. Then he had a couple cases that had like the high dollar, the last 17, all the expensive stuff. And then he had one giant tub full of loose vintage Kenner Star Wars. And I saw a guy going through it, and I was just like, I just stood there and waited.
Just dove it like Scrooge McDuck.
As soon as that guy was out, I was like, oh my gosh, what is in there? So I spent some time just digging, ended up getting some figures, and then like several hours later, I ended up going back there after I'd been through everything again, and I went back to that guy and got like another lot of figures, and got a vintage Boba Fett and a beautiful figure, and I did pay a little bit of money for that one, but the rest of them were marked like $5 or $6, $7, $8. I mean, it was really, he knew he had good prices, but as I was standing there going through that, he was pulling out like the 12-inch vintage figures, like complete brand new IG-88. Looked like that stuff from that auction, what it looked like. But I mean, they were all priced at like $800-900. He was, people were paying cash. So, but I was pretty happy. I went tonight. I was like, how many figures did I buy? I think I ended up buying 15 vintage Kenner figures. So that was super cool. And we really enjoyed the heck out of that show. And then I started getting, as we were in the panel there that afternoon, Seth started sending me pictures from around where I was, items where I was.
You texted, you had already said you were going, then you texted something about it, that was cool, and I was like, okay, well, we were driving back. Yeah, you go right through southern Columbus, and I was like, we were about an hour away or whatever. We're driving. I was like, you got any interest in that? When we could go. It's Sunday, we're gonna be right there. I mean, it was like nothing. So we're driving, and then you texted a lot of D&D stuff. Well, you sent pictures of those D&D characters.
Yeah.
And which I never did see those.
Really?
Yeah. But But you said a lot of D&D stuff, and I was like, we were like, I just hit. Let's see how far away we were. I mean, we were coming right into Columbus. I hit the thing. It's like 1 mile from the convention center. When I hit it, I was like, hell, that feels like a sign. Let's just go. So I pulled off the next exit, pulled in the parking garage, and we went in there. And it was right when the panel was.
Yeah.
Because that's why I sent you a picture or whatever.
Yeah.
Of those Ewoks, because we were walking the floor there, and you were in the panel.
Yeah.
And I could tell. I had a feeling because all those guys you were talking about were not in their booths. All their booths were empty.
Yeah.
All the Pixel Dan or whatever. And so we walked the floor in like 20 minutes because we had our Gen Con shoes on. You know, we're used to walking Gen Con that it's like thousands of vendors, you know.
Yeah.
So we were like, and I was like, what? There is a lot of freaking Masters of the Universe. I had no idea what I was coming into.
It's PowerCon.
I was like, come on, I don't give a crap about Masters. I like the aesthetic. I like the 80s feel of that, but I'm not a Masters of the Universe guy. Although one of the coolest things I saw there was a poster. I was like, if Clip was standing there, I would say, why don't you own this poster? Because somebody had a poster inside their booth that was just like a badass Masters of the Universe poster. It was vintage. It was vintage, and it was sharp looking. Like I really like that. If I was a Motu fan, I would own that. I would frame that sucker. But
I was seeing those. There was a booth there that had new D&D figures that were coming out, like on cards and stuff. I think I sent you a picture of. Yeah. And then I was seeing like a bunch of old 80s vintage stuff in different booths, like
toy size. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I was thinking though, my mind was D&D stuff, like modules and adventures and terrain, and I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, where is it? What the hell is it? Another He-Man. But anyway, we went through it a couple times because it didn't take very long. But I went. There was a lot of stuff. The coolest thing I saw, and I don't know why you don't. I know why you don't have this. It's freaking expensive. It's freaking expensive, but I would love to have it. Is the I forget what it's called. I was just looking it up because I didn't know the official name. It's the Star Wars Vintage Collection Archive Edition book that they had setting out.
Yeah.
And they did a Kickstarter for it, and it's hundreds of dollars.
Yep.
But it's got everything in just like this big book, going through every figure, all the figures that they didn't even release, or there was just a handful of.
I love
it.
That
is
stuff.
Sharp. It is sharp. I would own that book in a heartbeat.
Well,
it's hundreds.
We had talked with Jesse about Pixel Dan's He-Man or Masters of the Universe book he had written about all the toys, and just it's super detailed. And I was like, going into it, I was like, if I'm going to buy anything, I'm probably going to buy that book and have him sign it. And we weren't there very long, and I just kind of waited around. People finally left and got to talk to him. And I was like, "Where's the book?" He's like, "I sold out." He said, "I wish I would have brought more." He said, "I brought everything I had." He said, "I sold them all." I was like, "Man, that sucks." He's like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "Well, that's cool or whatever."
Right. That's better than having to take some back.
Right.
Well, I sent that a picture of those droids, and you said you're in a panel or whatever. And I was like, he doesn't know we're here yet or whatever.
No.
He hasn't got that far. He probably thought I got that off the internet. So then we went on and we went over to. I was like, hey, the main thing is we can eat at North Market. And we went out, walked over there and ate. And he's like, what else could you send him? Oh, I sent a picture of my food. I was like, they're going to think, what is this guy obsessed with food? I was just trying to send a clue that we were there.
Well, when you sent me the food and I was just like, oh, he's eating con food or whatever. And I didn't look at it. And then afterwards, I looked at that picture again. I was like, I know he's at North Market. I know those tables. I know exactly where he is.
There was a clue there. Then we start walking across the street. He goes, take a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger's nuts, and because there's that statue there, I was like, how about his butt? I was like, I'll take one of his butt. I made him stand next to the statue out of frame because some woman was sitting there. I was like, it could at least look like I'm taking a picture of you by it. I just took a picture of its ass. I was like, this will get him. I think he'll get it. And so then you sent me a picture by the statue later. That was funny.
Yeah, because by that time we'd been through the show several times in detail, talked to a bunch of people. We just really had a great time. All of us had a really nice day. And then
it was a good one. I can imagine you went there for one day. Got to see a bunch of panels and talk to people. It was probably a really good time.
Yeah, it worked out great. And then I was like, my whole plan, like, I was like, oh, if we're going to the convention center, I want to go across the street to Mikey's Late Night Slice and get some pizza afterwards. Because Cooper never ate there. Russ had never heard of it. And Cooper he'd heard us talk about it before. He was like, yeah, let's do that. So I snapped a picture by the statue as we were walking over there.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to go to Brucadia. We went in the back door of that.
Yeah.
They weren't open. We were in the building.
Oh.
I was like, oh, I don't think we were supposed to come in that back. Like you walk away from North Market, a lot of those places have entrances from both sides.
Yeah.
So we went in the back of Brucadia and I was like, wait a minute, I think they are closed and we're in here. So we left. They just weren't open on Sunday. It was a bar or whatever. But they got that upstairs arcade of a bunch of stand-up video games. So
yeah, I love that area. I love that area. We'd seen so much that day. I was like, because initially I was like, well, we could walk down a block and go to Big Fun, and that would be awesome. But we had seen so many toys.
Also, that's the same thing. We were when we were in Indy, we were eating someplace, and he's like, "There's a game store." And I was like, we walk in for 2 minutes. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
There's the biggest game convention we've been to all day yesterday. We're going all day tomorrow. We're standing in this stupid game store. I was like, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say,
funny.
As far as the vendors went at PowerCon, the guys that were actually selling product, man, I saw some damn good prices. Like, I saw some outrageous market prices. I saw figures $1,400.
I felt like a lot of stuff was pricey at PowerCon. I felt like there was a lot of the art. There was a lot of the booths with new neat concept things. Yeah. That was the best part of it. When you got down to and if I was coming there looking for particular things like Ewoks or whatever, but I felt like it was so much retailers just bringing their store and wanting you to pay big money. I was like, gosh, guys, you got to cut people a break here at the con.
Yeah.
Like,
everything,
get rid of stuff.
Everything we bought, and like I said, it was Sunday, but everything I bought, I was just kind of, I gather up what I was interested in. I take it over to the guy. I'm like, okay, give me a price. And I knew how much he had marked on it, and they all cut me a deal. So I was happy with that. But I saw a Motu Eternia playset, which is, the holy grail of masters. And I saw one in a box that looked brand new. I don't even know what year that came out. 87, 86, 87 or whatever. And I saw that and I was just like, okay, how much is that? And I looked over and it had $18,000 on it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was
I saw a Millennium Falcon in the box.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what they wanted for that.
Probably 300, 200 or 300, but
it's
so cool. It's so cool.
It's just
for
neat
me
to see the stuff. Yeah,
it's
fun to look at it.
It is. I saw a lot of He-Man stuff that wasn't priced outrageous. I saw, that was more common figures or had been played with or whatever, and some booths. And I was like, okay, a lot of superpowers, a lot of G.I. Joe there.
There was a bunch of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, but some of those displays those companies brought were just like, oh, they were amazing. And I was just we took some pictures of that stuff, but yeah, good time. super good time, and pizza was really good. We went over, had took a selfie with old Vigo from Ghostbusters 2, and ate our pizza and came home. I feel like it was a little bit of lightning in the bottle with that one, because like even talking to some of the guys there, I was like, why is it in Columbus? Like, why did they move it from California? And they were just like, well, they just wanted to change, and Mattel isn't involved anymore and with the con. And I was like, well, I even told him, I was like, we're super excited that it's in Columbus and accessible to us. I was like, but, what are the chances we're going to do it again here? And they were just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. The crowd's not as big. And I was like, yeah, you're going to be back in Chicago or somewhere next year. But so yeah, I'm super happy we got the chance to go. Might have been a once in a lifetime deal, but yeah, it was really good.
Well, even if you never leave the house like me, there was con news to enjoy. The biggest con in the world just took place a few weeks ago, San Diego Comic-Con International, San Diego. So there was a ton of news. There always is that weekend. A lot of trailers dropped. A lot of books are announced. A lot of actors. Yeah, they introduce actors for upcoming things. So, like I said, it's been a while. We don't have any breaking news to share, but you should find all your news like I did at Shmomo News on Facebook. After the weekend was over, that's what I did. I just went to Shmomo News and just scrolled down to see make sure I didn't miss anything. So she kind of curates all the big happenings. So I'll give you a couple of the highlights here, and start with Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera return for a new Walking Dead miniseries in 2023.
And Jordan Lowe returning with new Walking Dead
Yay.
recaps, where he's going to tell us the story of what happened on this show.
Only one more of those to go. But then there's all these spinoffs. Maybe I'll do that.
So that's what I'm saying. You're
non-stop spinoffs. So yeah, the two biggest stars of the show have been gone for the last few seasons. So we got news they're coming back and together. This one kind of came out of nowhere. I had a lot of people talking. The trailer for Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Yes.
All the response to that I saw was people were kind of lukewarm. D&D movie. What are they going to do? And everybody seemed to like it. They thought, wow, there's a lot of clever stuff here. It seems like a fun fantasy movie.
Well, let me give you a little behind the scenes on that. As the resident D&D guy, there was very low expectations for this because we've never had a good D&D movie. Had plenty of great fantasy content, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, all that stuff. But as far as specific to D&D, what were they going to do? There's always the joke, are they going to somewhere time in the movie just stop because the players couldn't get together, or whatever, or
yeah, I saw someone say that should be the seat before. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll announce a sequel in a couple of weeks. We can all meet it back together. Yeah.
Or it'd be clever if somebody died and then comes back and they're playing a different character. All the jokes, but weren't expecting much. So yes, the trailer came out and it actually looks like a good balance of adventure and humor, because that's usually what is going on at the table. So perfectly satisfied with that. But behind the scenes, if you're follow any kind of D&D online stuff, you watching the trailer, everyone knew right away that people were going, all the keyboard warriors were going to get really annoyed because that druid changed into an owlbear, and you can't do that. And oh my gosh, she was a wild shaped druid, because everybody wanted to figure immediately, which I love. They had all the D&D guys involved, good people that knew, that actually create the game, keep, were on staff to do, help them get things right and leave these clues for people to figure out. So everybody was immediately like, what class is this character? what spell are they casting? All this stuff. And the only major flaw was that she was a wild shaped druid and she turned into an owlbear, which you can't do. It's just like, but people forget, and most of that nonsense was shouted down by saying, you know, D&D is a suggestion of rules, and you can change them however you want. And so most people were just like, shut the hell up. And it's like, it's cool to change it in an owlbear, so at my table you can do that type thing.
Yeah,
So,
I was totally surprised because I didn't know they were making this. And
they announced it. They announced it at least a year ago. We've
Okay.
been waiting on the trailer.
yeah, that trailer dropped, and I was just like, I don't know what this is. And then I immediately assumed it was like the movie version of the cartoon show,
Which would be cool, but
yeah. But it was like, no. And I was like,
oh, they just can't. That's one of the things I bought at Gen Con was they always come out they've had 3 starter sets, basically 2 starter sets and an essentials kit, which is basically a starter set to get people into the game.
mm-hmm.
So it's just a box set like anything else, and it's got just what you need for a new player to start the game. And the first one they came out with, Lost Mines of Philander or something, is a really great set, great adventure, everything. So Essentials is pretty cool, but this third one on the box is the guy with the energy bow. I can't even think of his name right now. And Diana with the acrobat, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is gonna have the D&D cartoon characters in it. And it came out last week. You could only get it. It's Target exclusive till October. But there was one booth at the con selling them, so I bought one.
Yeah.
But the book had the artwork it has an adventure in it, and the artwork in it is Presto the mage, the wizard. And it's got 5, I think, out of the 7 characters in there in the art all through it. But there's no stats. They're not actually in the story. It's just using their artwork to get people like me excited.
Drop
the
money.
Just like that commercial we all saw was so exciting, where they had those. So I it's possible they could show up in this movie as a cameo or something. But yes, we would all love to see them just have a movie of those characters. Man, that would be awesome.
But yeah, to me, the idea of like, there's no point in calling it Dungeons and Dragons if it's just a generic fantasy movie. Just make your own fantasy movie. Like, if it's going to be branded D&D, you need those touches, and you need the things people will recognize. And
you have to
winks.
You have to like a cameo like that would be nice. The thing that, as a D&D fan, the things that we were looking for, they did. They had all that. You knew what spell someone was casting. You knew what magic item they were after. Everything was D&D lore, because it has its own lore, just like Game of Thrones and things like that. There are worlds, the Forgotten Realms and the Sword Coast, Baldur's Gate, all that stuff. There was little flashes of that in this movie trailer, so hopefully it's good. I'm excited for it.
So DC didn't have quite as much going on. We got a fuller trailer for Black Adam. Coming out October 21st this year.
Is anybody excited about this other than The Rock? I don't care about it.
The thing, I'm going to be disappointed because the part I'm excited about is not Black Adam, but I'm excited about the other characters.
The extras.
Yes.
The extras. Yeah. That's what I thought. I saw the trailer and I thought, I'm not going to watch this movie, and I probably won't. But Dr. Fate.
Yeah. Hawkman.
And all that. When I saw those things, okay, then I was like, okay, I could see why people would be excited to get to see these other characters.
Yeah, seriously.
So who else was there in it?
As far as characters, it's got Dr. Fate, it's got Hawkman, it's got the Atom Smasher, and Cyclone, yeah. Yeah, I think that's about it that I've seen with the trailers. But yeah, those are some old characters. For the most part, Atom Smasher isn't all that old, but definitely all Justice Society related. So that's pretty cool. That was my takeaway. I was just like, Hawkman looks awesome.
To complement that, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we got the trailer for Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which will be out in Christmas. So barely 2 months after Black Adam, the dark, gritty, whatever that is, we're getting a fun Christmas family movie starring the Marvel family. So it has to tie together, right? I mean, we can't pretend these are separate entities.
I don't know.
I think that's DC's best chance is to pretend that all of this stuff is separate, because then you can do things like the Batman, and Shazam, and Black Adam, because each of these things feel like different worlds, every one of them. And if you try to press them all into one world, you can't do any of them.
Yeah, and I mean, things have happened since then. Since these came out.
Yeah, that's all the notes I had for DC. I was like, wow, why isn't there very much DC news? Which we learned later why.
Yeah, it's a freaking mess. I mean, they're
going to start another 10-year plan.
Right. they couldn't even complete this one. I mean, it's just like when they canceled Batgirl, and then to find out that, and then they mixed up the release dates on Flash and Aquaman 2, and they're all having the storyline throughout those. Michael Keaton was supposed to be in those movies, and
that is such a disappointment.
Yeah,
that was the one of the things I was looking forward to, that I could find this kernel of something that sparked my interest in the DC, is the Michael Keaton stuff. Like, that's going to get me in a seat in a theater.
Yeah, he was going to be introduced in Batgirl. Well, that's never going to see the light of day as far as we know. And then the Ezra Miller mess, but we're still going to get that. Like, why are we getting that movie?
That's the best DC villain in years.
Yeah. But of all, like, why didn't you cancel that movie?
I saw a tweet. Somebody said Ezra Miller has an alarm that goes off every hour in the hour for him to do crimes, and he never misses an alarm. He never misses the call.
Yeah, and then, like, I don't know.
Remember when Marvel thought it was too risky to cast Robert Downey Jr.?
Wow.
Yeah, it's just
you have to just laugh. You just have to laugh, because it's just sad.
Yeah, that I don't know what's going to happen with DC and Warner Brothers. It's all a freaking mess and up in the air now. Honest to God, I would not be surprised if Disney suddenly swooped in at some point and just said, "We'll take it." And
wow,
I wouldn't. It would not surprise me. Like, what else could go wrong?
That would be interesting.
So,
yeah. What else you got there, newsboy?
Yeah, all the rest I had was Marvel related. Kind of running out the string on this year. We had a trailer for I Am Groot, the short animated thing.
Oh, those are out.
Dropped. Yeah, August 10th just came out.
Yeah.
5 original shorts streaming on Disney Plus. We got more news about the X-Men 97 reboot of the animated series.
Yeah.
Which I loved that show as a kid. That's what kind of cemented that I was a comic book fan. I love the X-Men. I love these characters, and I this doesn't do anything for me. I don't have any excitement over a reboot. I don't. Maybe when it drops and I watch a few, maybe it'll click with me again.
I'm curious where. I mean, I'm sure they didn't follow it religiously, but like, is there a certain point that the X-Men cartoon stopped in the in the X-Men timeline, and what stories would you expect next?
So the cartoon basically ended with Professor Xavier he gets hurt or something, or sick, and they call Lalandra to come take him away to heal him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of where it left off at. And this series is going to pick up right there. And Magneto is leading the X-Men. He's got the costume with the M.
That's right. I mean, that's right how it went. So that's
yeah. So
that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I agree. Like, I loved the X-Men cartoon in the 90s, and I you know, and it's not a reboot. It's really just a more of a continuation. So
how many seasons were there, or how many episodes? I'm just curious. I'll look it up.
Okay.
I don't mean to.
It would probably start about 92. Was that from 92 to 97? Was that
93?
Right. 93.
I think it was.
It says 92 here.
Oh, okay.
76 episodes.
Okay.
92 to 97.
And I'm not sure I even stuck with it the whole run. I don't know if I even saw the last few, so I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, they're keeping the characters that were in that show, and then they're expanding, I think, the roster a little bit.
Yeah.
And bring, you know, some of those, you know, Cable and Bishop and those characters were in the original cartoon. I think they're going to continue on and probably a little bit larger roles, but yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's interesting to me too. Yeah.
So
we also got the full She-Hulk trailer, which that drops August 17th, so that's probably out by now. We'll have more to say about the She-Hulk probably next episode.
Yeah.
And then the biggie we were probably all waiting on, Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, coming out November 11th of this year.
They nailed the trailer. Nailed the trailer.
I'm still not sure. Like, I still saw people arguing that this takes place during the snap. That's why T'Challa's not there, because it's during the snap, and they're like, no, that's not what. So nobody still knows exactly what the answer is. They get around.
I loved how ambiguous it was. We don't know. We don't even know what is her name? Angela Bassett. What she's even talking about. She says something about her entire family. Well, what happens, or what she, I don't even want to speculate, but I just loved how we don't know who is that Black Panther at the end. That's just, and the Bob Marley or whatever song. It just, like, it was really well shot, and the music. I love a good track laid down on something, and man, they nailed it.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid that this movie cannot live up to this trailer. Like, this trailer was. I saw people online like crying during this trailer, and I was.
It gave me a chill when I saw it. Now, I immediately had to put it on the big screen and turn the sound bar on and I can blast it.
It was like,
good.
I'm a little worried.
It was super effective, like, for someone like me who I wasn't sure how interested I was in another Black Panther. Without Chadwick Boseman. All right, can they even do so? So it got my interest right back. Like, wow, I really want to see this. So
Ryan Coogler is
he
is the man. Like,
yeah,
he made these new Rocky movies emotional and stuff, and he's got it, and he's the perfect guy for this job. I cannot wait. This is definitely my most anticipated movie the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah, there's been a lot of the last few Marvel movies that have come out here lately. A lot of people have been like, "Oh, they're not as good anymore." They just don't have the characters that.
I think they just feel diluted by the television shows.
I do too.
I think people are not they're filling some of that in, and I feel like some of the shows have that weak feeling compared to the movies. But I thought, Doctor Strange was great. Thor was good enough.
I thought Star Wars got some of the same criticism when they were coming out with those Star Wars, Rogue One and Solo and that. Those were both really good movies. I thought, but people complained about them, and I think it was too much.
Yeah.
But I think this
you got to leave for me to miss you.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. But I think this Black Panther movie is going to do a lot of money. A lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So that's 2022 on the schedule, and then we got this has become the tradition of Comic-Con or D23, the big board, the timeline, the flow chart of the next year. So They laid out Phase 5 right there on the screen for us to see, starting in 2023 February. Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania,
Yeah.
only in theaters. Spring of 2023, Secret Invasion on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So that will be the Skrull story picking up from Captain Marvel.
I'm a fan of Secret Invasion, the comic series. I loved all that stuff they did with that. Bendis did with that. Loved it. And I was so disappointed with how jokey they made the Skrulls, how they were just a punchline. So I hope they fix that with this. I don't see how they don't. They have to make it more serious.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So, Free Comic Book Day, May 5th, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
We were told it's going to focus on Rocket's origin.
My gosh, does that not sound like this could possibly be the... How is this not going to be the best Marvel trilogy?
Yeah.
I love the first and second movie are probably both top 10 Marvel movies for me.
Yeah.
And now you're going to get me a tear-jerking Rocket origin stuff. I mean, this is going to be awesome, I bet.
Yeah, they had the
plus Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Whoever else. Nova,
they had
probably.
The actor playing in his the guy from Peacemaker.
Yeah.
That's playing the High Evolutionary.
I walked around the purple suit. Yeah, I saw.
In
threatening
costume.
to kill people.
So yeah,
but this has potential to have that, that tear-jerking moment that I want. I want that family. This is forget Fast and the Furious. Guardians of the Galaxy is about family.
So when we do our 2023 movie preview, this will probably be at the top of some lists for most anticipated.
Absolutely.
All right, so summertime on Disney Plus, we're getting Echo, the follow-up, the character in Hawkeye.
Absolutely no anticipation for this. I do not care. I just did not care about this character in that show. I thought it was the most boring part.
I really don't know why
it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm scared of it being the whole thing, but it could surprise me.
It just seems like such an odd choice, but
yeah.
Well, it also feels like that, like her solo show was announced before she was a co-star on another show, so it's like
that was a mistake.
This wasn't built from wow, this is a great character fans love. It was like we already had this decided.
You will love this.
Yeah.
So right after that, Loki season 2.
Wasn't a huge fan of season 1.
Yeah. And July 28th, The Marvels in theaters.
That could be interesting. Yeah. I'd like to see that all tie together.
We'll get Carol Danvers. We'll get Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
We'll get Kamala Khan. Should be fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Then to fall 2023, Ironheart series on Disney Plus.
Wow, they are really putting this under wraps. Every filming shot you see from that, there are 100 umbrellas. They do not want you to see anything from this.
What are you trying to hide, Disney?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. What are they trying to hide? Like, whatever.
So
does want people to know what's going on?
Is there some character involved that's going to appear first in one of these movies, and then
Well, isn't the rumor that Riri is gonna be in Wakanda forever?
Well, what she obviously in the trailer is it Shuri bangs out that
an iron
heart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this seems like it has something to do with that.
Yeah. This feels like a clue.
I mean, I'm slow, but that seemed like a clue.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about that.
We'll see. Then November 3rd, Blade.
That seems soon.
That's a little over a year.
That's crazy. I'm excited. I've never watched a Blade movie.
Oh, really?
Really?
Missing out.
Michael,
I?
Michael is fashioning he's anticipating the beard right now.
Yeah.
He's got
He's
a year
looking.
to.
He's looking for leaks photos that be ahead of the beard game.
Ryan Reynolds really changed his life in Blade 3.
So I may have to watch the first couple.
Blade 3 is terrible.
That's what I've heard. Everybody says don't bother with 3.
But the first 2 have their charms, especially back then when we didn't have this wealth.
That's what I mean. I feel like I missed the boat. Like I missed the time when it was charming.
Yeah. Gosh, I haven't seen it forever.
So wintertime, either late 23 or early 24, Disney Plus, Agatha, Coven of Chaos. This will be the WandaVision spinoff with Agatha Harkness.
So they changed the name on this, right?
I don't know.
Because wasn't it, I was thinking it was House of Harkness or something, but.
Oh, maybe. I don't know, but I'm so over a series coming out with having a character that pops and then they have to have their whole own series. This is totally manufactured based on her popularity from that. I'm like,
no, wait, we just said it's bad to do what the Echo or to plan ahead of time. Now it's like you get characters people like. It's like, hey, here's a character people like. Don't do too much.
I reserve the right to criticize everything.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so spring of 2024, Daredevil, Born Again. 18 episodes.
Okay, first off, I was immediately just super excited. And I think this is when I was like, I have got to send this timeline now because Born Again fired me up. And I said that. And then I was like, immediately, because I thought the Daredevil show, I want to rewatch it. I honestly don't think I ever finished all the seasons of that, but there was too many episodes. I was complaining because there was 13 episodes a season and they just felt like too much fluff. And now it's 18. How do you make the story 18 episodes? That's ridiculous.
I love it.
But I'm like, yeah, 18 episodes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's even if a couple are duds, man. There's got to be some that are amazing.
Oh, what if 15 are duds, though? Oh, wow.
I'll still take it for 3 good ones.
Yeah, that's true. 3 good ones. I agree. But that's very exciting.
All right. Free Comic Book Day 2024, May 3rd. Captain America, New World Order. This is Sam Wilson in the starring role. I don't feel like we've got a whole lot of details for that one.
Yeah, we don't know much. Away. I'm curious about that.
And just a few months later, July 26th,
Kids on Bikes, the return.
The movie we have assumed for a long time, Thunderbolts.
Oh yes, this is super anticipated here. Yes, I'm excited to see what exactly they do with this. Who if they do it like the comics, which I would assume they are going to do, use shady characters to portray heroes. Where are the real heroes going to be though? Where I don't know.
But we have so many to choose from. You could assemble a team of tons of choices for the characters.
Yeah.
So to wrap up Phase 5, May 2nd, 2025, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi. He's going to direct a full Avengers movie. Follow that up November 7th, Avengers: Secret Wars. So we're going to get 2 big Avengers movies between May and November 2025, and that will end Phase 5 of the Marvel experiment.
That was very, we had speculated there was going to be Secret Wars. There had been a lot of things, kind of. This is what they ended up after calling the first 3 phases were the Infinity Saga. Now they're saying 4, 5, and 6 is the multiverse saga.
Right.
So
I feel like there's one they left out. I feel like there's one they're hiding.
Well, I didn't
Well,
say
yeah, who knows what else is that year?
the start. They said the start of Phase 6 will be Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024. So I guess that's before the Avengers
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. They
So I guess
showed
are the Avengers
the
movies
sign there, yeah.
in Phase 6, I guess. Whatever, I don't care
But
about the
They may move this stuff. They moved
classification, yeah.
they moved stuff before.
Yeah.
It may not all be in this order, but
that they said Fantastic Four will start Phase 6. That was a specific thing. So yeah, whatever happens with the end of the multiverse, maybe Fantastic Four clean it up and we start again. Something new there.
That's super interesting, and for Marvel to finally get to do their for Fantastic Four, that's exciting.
Finally.
And by getting that step, we're one step closer to the X-Men.
Yeah.
You know, probably by the end of Phase 6, I would assume.
I'm just gonna say I think there's one that they're hiding because they don't want to give away plot points. I think it's Young Avengers. We've talked about it before.
Oh, it's got to be. That seems so obvious.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exciting, though. A lot of stuff. I feel like I'm 2 years away. I feel like I'm always 2 years away from the stuff I want to see.
Everybody out there, eat healthy, get some exercise. You know, let's all still be around in 2025.
It would be a travesty if I wished for all this to happen back when I was 13 years old and then die before I get to see it come to fruition. I finally have created this strange timeline with that wish, and I don't want to miss it.
All right, so that was everything Marvel related. Any other movies before we pop out of here? Anybody see any movies recently?
I watched 5 movies in the last week.
Yeah, I was gonna say he just said he watched a bunch in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I know you've been watching some movies too. I saw you reviewing stuff.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say last night I had to stop and. Are we talking about streaming movies? Are we talking about movies in the theater?
Movies.
Well, last night after I got home from work, after I've heard so much about it, I had to sit down, pull up Hulu, and watch Prey.
I watched it last night also. Nick and I watched it over here, blasted it.
That feels like an event movie everyone's talking about. Mm-hmm. It's weird to be just streaming on Hulu. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's available to more people. So this feels like the thing you have to see, and I haven't seen it. You know, I didn't expect this movie to be that. But
yeah,
good for it.
Dan Trachtenberg. This is the guy that did 10 Cloverfield Lane. So another sequel we didn't know we needed.
Yeah,
that he kills it. He can tell a story that is interesting. So I really am excited to see what this guy does next.
Yeah, this is definitely was not the type of movie I would normally go out and watch, or even at home sit down and watch. I haven't watched a Predator movie since like Danny Glover and Predator 2 came out. I have no idea of anything that happened after that. I just remember watching that one and going, "Ooh, this isn't what."
I've only ever seen the first one, which was good, and so I loved all the little details from that they use, like just the Predator's view and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that was all great details. I watched it. They had a choice. I'm all about subtitles, so they had the choice where you could choose, but they decided. Originally, when he pitched it or whatever, he was like all Comanche. It was going to be in Comanche, the whole thing with subtitles, and they didn't do it. They just didn't pull the trigger. Well, then in May, maybe it's April, they said, "Go for it. If you can dub this with Comanche, we'll put that version on Hulu also." So we watched the Comanche dubbed version with subtitles, and that was the way to go. You got the whole thing was them talking, in the language they're supposed to be talking in. Mm-hmm. They got experts in there that yes, some of the lips don't match up because they weren't doing it when it was filmed, but I loved it like that. It was great.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I didn't have any kind of connection Yeah, I remember Arnold. That was cool. But I feel like all the sequels over the years have added, oh, here's the backstory to the Predator, and here's where they really come from. And I don't care about any of that. I don't think that adds to it. It's a monster in the jungle. Like, that's all you need for a good movie. And this movie understood that and went back to the basics. So just as a fun action movie, it was great. But then you said it has those hat tips to the fans, and they're going to reference.
There's 3 dots.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite weapon of his. Yeah, he used it. That was cool. So yeah, there's the super ish. I feel like the new fans or the super fans could get the same out of this, which again is rare in
absolutely
fandom.
You got to see everything he could do, and how it was very easy to understand what was happening, and just how this face off between him and the other characters involved. It was a solid movie.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if it's not in my top 10 at the end of the year.
Yeah, it was so funny because I put it on, and Alicia and the kids were all there, and they're just like, what is this? The movie starts playing, and I'm like, it's a Predator movie. What's Predator? And I'm like, the only thing I can think to say, I'm like, get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. Put some mud on yourself. And they were just looking at me like, oh, God. So for them, their viewing experience was just exactly that. They had no clue, but it was easy enough to figure it out. And he's see-through. My Carly says, oh, he's see-through? I said, yeah, this is camouflage. Okay, that's easy to understand.
So yeah, I rewatched the trailer after watching the movie, and it half felt like a Cloverfield trick where they wanted you to watch it without knowing it was a Predator movie. Like, most of the trailer, they don't show anything Predator related. Mm-hmm. And then the logo has the same kind of font. And, I felt like somewhere in there, they wanted to try to pull that off to make a big switcheroo. And then some marketing person's like, no, we can't do that. So it half felt like you didn't even need to know what a Predator is. And you just proved that you didn't have to know what a Predator is.
Yep. Oh, this past couple weeks, I have again proven to myself that my practice of not watching trailers is the way to go. We had watched Nope, and I did not know what that movie was about, and loved it. And afterwards, I watched the latest trailer, and it literally shows you all the stuff that I did not. If I'd have known before I watched the movie, it would have totally changed my experience. I did not know what they were doing, what they were up against. So, man, trailers are awful. I hate all those spoilers. They were all the cool moments are in the trailers, and you don't get that.
And they're all cut weird. You don't quite know. They could show you a weird scene,
I've lived too long. Yeah. I can watch a trailer and say that's the last scene.
Yeah.
And I hate that. But like watching Prey, even watching the movie, having never watched a trailer for it, I watch it, and one of the early scenes in the movie, something happens to her, and I was like, well, that's definitely going to be the end of the movie. That's going to happen, and it did. I was just like, it's always like that. It's like,
so I watched the first.
I need to reboot and not be able to see this stuff.
Mind wipe.
So I watched the first teaser for Nope, which didn't give really anything away.
That's all I had seen.
Showed the guy on a horse, and it's on a farm, and there's something weird in the sky. That's all we knew.
That's it.
So, and that's all I had seen since. I had avoided, not militantly, but like I didn't watch commercials for it. Like the whole cast was on Seth Meyers or something the night before, and I didn't watch that because I knew they'd talk about it. So I get to the theater completely fresh, completely nothing in my mind.
Love it.
Maria Menounos is doing her pre-show thing. It's like, here's a commercial. Hey, here's some movies we're looking forward to, like Nope. And they started showing. I was like, no, I was literally in my theater seat. And they started showing a commercial. I was like,
That happened to me a few weeks before that, going to see Doctor Strange. She did that and was telling all about what was going to happen in Doctor Strange. I'm like, I'm getting ready to watch that stupid movie.
I paid for the ticket already.
I ran out of the theater and put my hands on my ears and went, ah!
That bitch.
Oh, it's a bunch of shit. They're trying to kill me.
Spoiler, Menounos. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't go see Nope, but my daughter did with some friends. And
when we saw Nope, they came out of the theater. They had watched something else.
Yeah,
And I was like, Nope is good. Nick and I were out there raving about it.
And they saw that Crawdads movie, whatever that was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
My wife had read the book or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, like every other white woman.
Yeah, and Carly and some friends from high school went. She's like, "Oh, we're going to movie this." So, what are you going to go see? Nope. I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, it's a horror movie." And I was like, "You sure?" She's like, "I don't know." I said, "Do you know anything about the movie?" "Well, no." I said, "Did you see the other 2 movies?" "No." I was like,
Nope.
"Okay, good luck." And then she came home and told me how terrible it was.
Wow. It was so good. So I would think she would have liked it. I thought it was so good.
It was weird enough that if you're just expecting a horror movie or a sci-fi movie,
I guess
I could see being disappointed. So that there's some oddness to it, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was as good as Get Out.
No.
Or
I think it's better than Us. I totally liked it more than Us. Us was just like too much. It was too much. It was trying to do too much. And I felt this was like just had that good message. I just like the whole thought of, there's something going on in the sky and you just can't help but look at it. It's just like scrolling Twitter. It just feels like we can't look away from the spectacle. We just can't help ourselves. And look,
even if it's destroying us all.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So I saw a quote, Jordan Peele writing the script, quote, "At a time when we were a little bit worried about the future of cinema. So the first thing I knew is I wanted to create a spectacle. I wanted to create something that the audience would have to come see." So that was his thinking. Yeah. Everyone was streaming things at home. He wanted a big screen experience,
right?
A something that happened that you couldn't take your eyes off of. So
yeah, I loved it. We saw Bullet Train in IMAX, which always makes it better.
I've heard.
Yeah. Which it was super fun. It was I had seen the first trailer for that and was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. It looks too silly. I'm not gonna like this. Like, I did not like the trailer I had seen for it. But then I am so glad I did not watch any more freaking trailers, because after I saw this movie and all the people that were in it that I did not know were going to be in it are all revealed in the trailer. In the final trailer, and that is a huge mistake because, man, there are so many people in that movie that you don't know are going to be in it. That was very fun, and it was a very Guy Ritchie type movie, just crazy assassins fighting each other, and a story that is overly complicated, but kind of all pays off at the end. Like, you're like, wow, it's ridiculous, but they actually made it all make sense. And I mean, I guess it's possible to not like it. There was a lot of people. I saw a lot of bad reviews, but we just had a lot of fun, and I liked the surprises of it. Also saw Vengeance with the BJ Novak movie. He's like he's a up and coming creator. Yeah, he did The Office, but he's like trying to do his own stuff. And this, I think, was written and directed by him. And the the premise basically is he is just like a big city schmuck, big city guy who just is on Tinder dating everybody and doesn't want to be committed. And somebody he had a relationship, a very brief encounter with, or a couple dates, ends up dying, and her family thinks that he is her boyfriend and want him to come to the funeral. So he goes along with it and ends up getting wrapped up in their family stuff going on. And it was shockingly good. Like, I was so surprised how well, it was. I feel like it's one draft away from not being a little clunky, but man, there was a lot of very good points and well-written lines and made you think about things and made his character grow throughout. Ashton Kutcher gives it a really neat performance in it that I thought it's probably the biggest surprise for me this year.
That's a name I haven't heard in a little while.
It was a neat little performance. So Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Nick wanted to see. We went to some cool theater in Indy. Like, he talked about the whole time was if he had the money, he would open a theater like that up here. It was awesome. It was just like it had a bar in it. It was like called Can's Theater and Brasserie or whatever. I don't know. It was just like in this neat neighborhood and just had just what you wanted, just an indie movie theater. And Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, if you don't know what it is, it's a stop motion movie. Jenny Slate does the voice of a shell and with shoes on. And apparently it was a pair. I don't know a lot about it other that there was like some YouTube videos, I think, that she did.
She did a couple just shorts for friends and family, and people kept encouraging her. More people need to see this, so they sort of became a bigger thing.
Yes, they did a feature-length movie of this shell's story, and it was a beautiful movie. She was so such a character you just fell in love with, and surprising the kind of character it was, because it wasn't just sweet. It was, she could be a little scathing towards her co-star in it and really give him a hard time, but in a sweet way. Definitely recommend it. And then
if only we lived in a college town that had cool
exactly. And the last one was the new Patton Oswalt movie that came out this past weekend that I would most anticipated, called I Love My Dad, where he is kind of estranged from his son and finds out the only way in, he gets blocked on Facebook by his son. So the only way in to try to get a relationship going with him, he catfishes him. and it is really good. It's a really good flick. He just uses a person, that works at a diner, uses her account to make this account, and it's cleverly shot. Like, whenever sometimes you'll see the son imagining her, like he's just sitting there talking to her, and it is Patton Oswalt. And sometimes they show Patton Oswalt and it looks really awkward, as if it was his dad there. But it's really good movie. So basically, this was a big week for no misses. Every movie I saw this week, all 5 movies, were great and will comprise a lot of the top of my list this year. So I'm very satisfied.
Can't beat that.
Well, try. What'd you see?
Nothing that
good. Wow. Out there watching garbage. Well, you didn't like Nope and Prey as well as me, so what else didn't you like?
I had everything on my list from all this cable I've been watching, from Showtime and Paramount Plus. Nothing really new. Signed up for Paramount Plus, 99 cents Prime Day.
Nice.
Bargain. First thing I watched, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. I'm not sure why. I don't know why. It wasn't something I was dying to see. But it's like I'm scrolling through this brand new channel full of tons of stuff I can watch. It's like, here we go, Beavis and Butthead. Let's do it. It was good. It was like they get zapped 24 years into the future from where we last saw them in 1998 to the present day.
Jeez.
And it's just the same old knuckleheads up to their antics.
Up to their antics. Beavis.
With a lot of the multiverse jokes and time travel silliness. And,
I do want to tell you, Cliff, one more movie that I just looked at my list. I forgot to mention a movie on Netflix I watched called The Sea Beast, and it feels like How to Train Your Dragon. It looks, I mean, it is so similar to the animation to how to Train Your Dragon.
Is it a DreamWorks movie?
I don't know. It must be. I don't know how they could get away with it. It's so similar in the looks if it wasn't, but it is surprisingly good. It is a pirate movie. You know, they're like chasing sea beasts or whatever in whatever this world is, and it's just a very well done pirate thing. Like Carl Urban is the voice of the main hero, and there's his captain of the ship he's on is voiced by Jared Harris, who is just phenomenal. His voice, he just has that iconic voice, and he is incredible in it. And I had heard it was good. Now, I'm not an enormous animation guy anyway, but I really like this movie. So if you're flipping around Netflix and want to see something DreamWorksy,
all I'm seeing is Netflix Animation as the production company. I don't see it as anything.
Yeah. Well, the main monster in it the face looks just like one of the dragons out of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember it was probably about a year or so ago that they had that. Was it the Mitchells versus Machines or whatever?
Yeah,
I really liked it off of Netflix.
That was a pretty sharp movie.
Yeah.
Looked good. Yeah, that's probably it for movies for me.
Okay.
All right, sounds good to me. We will be back soon with some more fun from your friends at KPP. Check me out, SoProComics.com. We got a Kickstarter going, guys, for our next book. SoPro Fusion is our new Facebook page. You can find all the details there. It's public domain. We said we love the public domain.
How much is a wrap at SoPro Fusion? If I wanted a healthy wrap.
About $18. So it's fun, old school Golden Age superheroics mixed in with the Mothman mythology of West Virginia. So it's Michael's favorite thing and my favorite thing, and we mashed it together, and we're making a 3-issue miniseries set to debut at the Mothman Festival this year.
That's the headline.
Yeah.
If we did fire you up to want to go to an event, enjoy something you enjoy, this is local pop culture lore all tied together at where it happened.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, this may be the thing you can go to in this last part of the year.
I better fill up my tank of gas. I might actually go somewhere. Hooray.
It's exciting. Let's hope this comic gets done.
So check us out on Kickstarter. Check us out on Facebook. We love you. My name is Jordan. Hello.
Cliff Barnes.
Seth. Bye forever.
Thought you were going to say, I have the power.
I do not have the power.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, at gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/youdamnwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.